Hey everyone! Today I want to share with you an incredibly emotional story about the challenges and dangers that Huyen and Maya are facing. Ji has advised Huyen to return to his hometown with him so they can start a fresh life and get Maya enrolled in school. Will Huyen choose to join Ji on this journey back home? Let's find out the answer together in this story. But there's a twist. The sudden departure of Tuvi has left Huyen shocked and a bit heartbroken. It's a moment filled with unexpected turns and deep emotions. I hope you'll be moved and inspired by the story as it unfolds, experiencing every emotional moment along the way. Stay tuned for an unforgettable journey. It was a peaceful morning, with the soft sunlight streaming down onto the small creek, making the water sparkle. Maya was happily playing by the water with Huyen, her laughter echoing through the quiet air, like gentle waves soothing the soul. But just then, Je walked over, sitting next to Huyen. His eyes were filled with both concern and hope, making her feel that something important was about to happen. Huyen. Je's voice was soft, yet heavy with unspoken emotions. There's something I need to tell you. Huyen looked up at him, her clear eyes full of curiosity. What is it, Je? He paused for a moment, as if the words he was about to say were too heavy to bear. He looked at her, then quietly said, "This place, it's too dangerous for you and Maya. I want you to come with me to the north. We can start over there." Those words hit Huyen like crashing waves, pushing her thoughts away from the peace she had just felt. She felt a mix of uncertainty and regret, torn by the thought of leaving behind the place where she and Maya had found some semblance of peace. Huyen stayed silent, her gaze fixed on Jay's eyes, where determination and concern shone through. Jay continued, his voice calm and reassuring. "Life in the countryside will be tough, but I'll take care of you and Maya. We'll have a garden, a pond, and Maya will be able to go to school. You'll get to watch her grow up, to see her future unfold." Huyen's heart sank as she heard his words. The warmth and love in Ji's voice made her want to cry. She could feel his deep concern for them both. After all they had been through, the thought of this new chapter seemed impossible to grasp. Standing at this crossroads, she didn't know what to do. She quietly replied, "I need time to think about this." Ji gazed deeply into her eyes, holding her hands tightly as if to offer her peace. "There, we'll start fresh. It's not safe here anymore." Huyen lowered her head, unable to hide the fear in her eyes. "I'm afraid. Afraid that going back to that place, both Maya and I might be in danger again." The wave of anxiety washed over her, pulling all her clarity with it. Jay tightened his grip on her hands, steadying her. "Don't worry, I'm here. Your ex-husband has been arrested. You won't have to worry anymore." His words felt like a promise, like a shield protecting her. And for the first time in a long while, the storm inside Huyen began to calm. She looked up at him, her eyes wide with surprise, feeling a weight lift off her chest. Meanwhile, Maya continued to play nearby, her bright laughter, a symbol of hope, a sign of a brighter future. But in Huyen's heart, there was still one question left unanswered. She needed time to decide, to be sure that whatever choice she made would be the right one for her and for Maya. Jay's words, though, filled with warmth, stirred something deep inside Huyen. But her thoughts were still unclear, and she knew she needed more time to reflect and to share her decision with him. They made their way back to the house, a place still unfinished with walls that weren't quite solid yet. But in the stillness of the space, Huyen and Tuvi were preparing for a new day. Today, they were heading to the creek to gather seaweed to sell at the market. There was an unusual sense of peace in the air, but it left Huyen feeling a bit uneasy. She turned to G. "Maya, stay home and be good. And be careful with those bad people, okay?" G nodded, his eyes filled with unsaid worries. As Huyen turned to leave, she quickly hung some wet clothes outside to dry in the gentle sunlight. She looked at G one last time and reminded him softly, "Be careful, Jay." He simply nodded in silence, his concern still visible in his eyes. As Maya's laughter echoed through the house, Huyen and Tuvi followed the narrow path, where thick grass grew high, leading them to the creek. The walk was long, and the water rushed violently, pulling along the frothy current. They carefully stepped over slippery rocks, balancing themselves against the powerful flow. The sound of the water flowing was like a soft melody filling the air with an unexpected calmness. They gathered fresh green seaweed and carefully packed it into a basket, their spirits lifting with every step. Once they reached the shore, Huyen sat down on a large stone, a deep sigh escaping her lips as her heart suddenly felt heavy. She turned to Tuvi and quietly spoke. "Jay wants me to move back to the countryside. What do you think about that?" Tuvi listened, her eyes lost in distant thoughts. "Jay only wants the best for you, sis. It's too dangerous here. We're surrounded by strangers. You're lucky to have Jay by your side." Huyen didn't answer right away. Her eyes seemed to peer through the storm within her. After a long pause, she sighed softly. "I have to go to the market. You stay here by yourself, okay? It's too dangerous for you to come." Tuvi looked at Huyen, worry gleaming in her eyes, but she didn't speak. She only nodded quietly, then slowly turned and walked back toward the house. Her footsteps faded into the distance, leaving Huyen alone. In the vastness, her thoughts unable to be shaken. Huyen stood there silently watching Tuvi disappear into the morning mist. Her heart felt heavy questions without answers swirling in her mind. G's decision came from love, from care, but was it the right choice for her and Maya? Each step, each decision felt impossible. Anxiety crept in, enveloping Huyen's heart. As she faced a future filled with uncertainty, Tuvi returned home alone, her steps heavy with worry and her mind clouded with mixed emotions. She didn't want to burden G and Huyen anymore, knowing that perhaps she was the reason the troublemakers had targeted them. When she got back to the house, Tuvi rushed to her room, closing the door behind her to face the feelings she couldn't share. She sat on the bed, her heart burning with anxiety as thoughts swirled in her mind too overwhelming to ignore. Unable to hold it in any longer, Tuvi pulled out a piece of paper, her hands trembling as she wrote a quiet farewell words that had been bottled up inside for so long. Her tears fell onto the paper, each drop like a rain that couldn't stop pouring. She felt a deep ache in her chest, unable to say a proper goodbye. But in her heart, she knew this decision was necessary. She packed her things quickly, folding her old clothes neatly, and left without telling Jay or Huyen. She left in silence, carrying sincere emotions, but knowing she couldn't stay any longer. When Huyen returned from the market, she was alarmed to find Tuvi gone. Anxiety gripped her as she searched the house, And then her eyes landed on the table where a letter sat quietly. She picked it up and opened it, reading the heartfelt words of thanks and goodbye to both Jo and Huyen. Her heart twisted with sorrow as she realized that Tuvi had left without a word. Huyen turned to Jo, her voice choked with emotion. Maybe she's made her own decision. She took a deep breath, trying to swallow the sadness. I just hope Tuvi finds happiness no matter what path she chooses. Jay stood beside her, his eyes filled with sadness and helplessness. But deep down, he understood that sometimes love can't keep someone from leaving, and Tuvi's decision was something they couldn't change. They both hoped that wherever Tuvi went, she would find peace and happiness just as she deserved. Jay gazed at Huyen with love, a love that was boundless. It was a deep love for both Huyen and Maya, one that he would sacrifice everything to protect and care for. He didn't need promises, he just wanted to be there for them to face life's challenges together. Huyen and Maya had become the most important part of his life, his hope, and his reason to keep going. In every moment, Ji only wished that Huyen could feel his love so that one day they could walk together down the path of happiness he had always dreamed of.